unilateral contract is somebody's making an offer, another person can accept the offer by performance. A bilateral agreement is both parties is agreed to do something. Number 7, unless otherwise expressly stated, auction is considered an auction with reserve. Forget number 7. I don't like this auction set. Forget 7, 8. What is that? I have all these. Forget 7 to 10. Because auction, we didn't go over that. Forget 7 to 10. I don't know why it's there. In your midterm, there's no auction. So forget 7 to 10. Number 11, an offeror can revoke his or her offer even after an agreement or acceptance has been reached. This is false. The offeror can only revoke, terminate his offer before other party accepted. Number 12, a rejection of an offer is not effective until it is actually received by the offeror. Now this revocation is, we have two different things. Revocation is more like revocation is same as termination of offer. Rejection is actually by offeree. Somebody who received the offer and say, I don't want it. So this is termination of offer. This is by offeror, and rejection is by offeree. And when you say rejection of offer is not effective until it is actually received by offeror, actually received by offeror. Sounds funny, but once offeree actually accepted, he has choice whether to reject it. Counteroffer is a rejection of original offer. That's true. During the counteroffer, previous offeror remains the offeror. Previous offeror remains the offer, maybe. But anyway, when somebody makes a counteroffer, previous offer is gone. Number 15. An offer that is made to two or more persons jointly must be accepted jointly. Where number 15 is not really good question. Normally, it depends on the term of the contract, but okay, let's just skip it, the same for them. 16, 17, 18, don't worry about it because in your exam there is no multiple choice. So true or false question. Let's go to chapter 11. Now, the titles are consideration and promissory as the whole. Now, what is a promissory as the whole? Promissory as the whole is something substituting consideration when there is no consideration, such as normally consideration is something given and take between promisor and promisee. So let's say I'll say just promisor and promisee, some dollar figure, and let's say something good or service, give and take. And this we call bargain for exchange, something given and take, or we can say some benefit or some obligation, whatever. Now, when there is some contract, sometimes there is no consideration sometimes. Actually, let's go over the question. I'm not sure if you really have to go in that far, because if there is any question, let's go over. But promissory estoppel is So it's something like this. Father said, let's say father and daughter. Father told daughter, hey, on your birthday, I'm gonna buy you a car. So I want you to look for the car. Okay? So let's say the daughter was expecting, right? But the thing is, this is a gift, right? So what happened in gift? There is no consideration. There was no bargain for exchange because father is giving money, but daughter is not giving back anything. So legally, father has no legal obligation. Legally, on her birthday, father said, you know, financially I'm not doing great. So I don't think I can buy you a car this time. And the daughter cannot say, I'm going to take you to the court. She can't do that because there was only father's obligation, but daughter did not promise anything to give back. So there was no consideration. This we call consideration, right? But what happened is, let's say father said, you know, I will buy you a car, and daughter actually went out, looked for the car, and put the down payment for $3,000 in the car dealer, expecting her father to give her money on her birthday. So what happened to the daughter was relying on her father's words. She actually deposits the money somewhere else. So if the father doesn't give her, I don't know how much, let's say the car is worth $15,000, then basically she is in bad situation. In that situation, we call that here promissory estoppel. Promissory estoppel means even though there is no consideration, one of the elements of contract is missing, court will allow her to collect $3,000 from her father, because without that, she is in trouble. So relying on father's word, she took the action, then father has to keep the promise on this amount. So that's a little unusual concept, so I don't think you guys really have to worry about it, but let's see. Maybe I didn't give any, let's see if there's any question like that. Okay, number one, to be enforceable, contract must be supported by consideration. That's true. Number two, a contract that was lacking in consideration is performed by the party. The parties cannot subsequently assert lack of consideration to undo performed contract. Yeah, this is promissory estoppel. Because it said if the contract was lacking consideration, is performed by the party, so there is no consideration, but D performed by the party, parties cannot subsequently assert lack of consideration to undo the performed contract. So number two is promissory estoppel, which we just went through. Number three, promissory estoppel is an equity doctrine that permits parties to enforce contract that include consideration. Now, number three, promissory estoppel is an equity doctrine that permits parties to enforce a contract that lacks consideration, not include. Because there is no consideration. There is no consideration, but court will try to enforce this promise. Right? Number four, out-of-court settlement in exchange for dropping lawsuit is an example of consideration. Now, number two is what happened to this. Let's say somebody is paying this person something, but she say, okay, in term, I will not file the lawsuit against you. So that's basically this person is basically, this person has a right to file the lawsuit against him, but he agreed to not to file the lawsuit, court consider that as consideration as well. Number 5, a gift promise is enforceable if the promisor withdraw from his promise. That's false. It's not enforceable. Gift promise is not enforceable. Number 6, a complete gift promise cannot be rescinded for lack of consideration. Now this is called completed gift promise. Cannot be rescinded by lack of consideration. Forget number 6. It's just a little confusing. Number 7, illusory promise is an example of contract that lacks consideration. What was the illusory consideration? Illusory contract. Illusory contract was such as this: only one person. There is a consideration for only one party. When there is a consideration for both parties, we call mutuality. So there is a consideration for both parties. But when there is a consideration for only one party, we call illusory contract. The illusory contract, there is only contract for only one person. Let's go to number 8. Pre-existing duty promise is unenforceable because of the introduction of new consideration. Right? Promise pre-existing duty is unenforceable because of the introduction of new consideration. Or normally, I think the question itself is a little confusing. Pre-existing duty promise is unenforceable because of the introduction of new consideration. You know, we had a situation where we had a painter. We had a painter, house owner, and painter. He decided to give $1,000, and painter decided to paint the house. And what happened was, while painter was painting, painter said, "Hey, this house is bigger than I estimated, so I like to get $1,500." And we said, if the house owner does not get anything other than original promise, then this modification is no good because there is no new consideration. But so basically, this we call that pre-existing duty. So I think number 8, another confusion to me. Skip that. Number 9, pre-existing law allow midstream changes to be enforceable in the contract. Well, again, what's the midstream changes? I think pre-existing rule basically, whenever people actually change, only thing you need to know is whenever any terms are changed, there has to be new consideration on both parties. I think that's what you need to remember. Number 10, a promise based on past consideration is not enforceable. Now, number 10 is right. Number 11, an accord is enforceable even though new consideration is given. Now, we didn't go over actually accord and satisfaction. Let me just go over briefly. Let's say there's a A, there's a B. A gave some dollars to B, and B is supposed to pay back, let's say 6 months later. 6 months later, A said, "Hey, I want you to pay back $1,000 that I lent you 6 months ago." And B said, no, that's not 1,000. You only gave me 800. So there's a dispute as to amount, right? And B say, oh no, I'm going to send you only 800 because I borrowed only 800. Let's say there's no interest. And A said, no, there's a 1,000. And what happened is B actually write a check for 800 and send to A, and on the back of check he said for and satisfy. So when he say this is a full amount and it's totally satisfied. Now if in this case what happened is if A saw this memo on the back, he deposited this check on his checking account, that means he agreed on $800. If A wants to dispute this $800, he should not deposit the check. He have to tell him, no, I'm returning your check, and you need to send me $1,000 check. But if he deposits this check, that means he accepts it. That we call accord, more like agreement, satisfying other person's obligations. Okay. From 12
Hey, how about taking this one?
to
Not the same.
those multiple choice. Forget that. Oh, it's just a noise.
Somebody.
Let's go to number 12. I mean, chapter 12. Chapter 12. I think this is more defenses, like capability and legality. Number 1, people below the age of majority are considered minor. Yeah, we know that. That's true. Number 2, a minor can disaffirm a contract anytime reaching the age of majority. Now, minors can disaffirm the contract actually. So minor means, let's say this guy is minor means somebody who is younger than 18, right? Does it go this way? Okay. So younger than 18. So let's say this guy is 16 now. And what happened when he's 16? He has right to rescind the contract. Rescind means, we had example, let's say this 16 years old kid bought a Corvette. Let's say Corvette costs $50,000. I don't know, when I was 20s, I rode Corvette. At the time, I think it was less than 40,000. Nowadays, it's more than 80,000. American car is so expensive. So, let's say then he put $20,000 down, and he got $30,000 financing installment payment. So he wrote a car for 1 year, and he said, I don't like it, I'm going to return it. He go back to the dealer, tell the dealer, hey, I'm a minor, my contract, I have a right to rescind. So I give you my Corvette, give my money back. Can he do that? Answer was yes, until he reached 18 years old. When he reached 18 years old, if he continued to make a payment, that means he affirmed his agreement. Or before 18, he has to disaffirm. If he wants to take any action, it has to be before 18.
And he has to hire an attorney for it, or his parents, his mother.
Yeah, he doesn't need an attorney. But, the thing is, if the automobile dealer said, get out, kid, then maybe he needs an attorney. Then attorney probably can file the lawsuit. And,
I mean, can he sign the request to the court?
court? Oh yeah.
Because he's a minor.
You know, a lot of people don't know that they can file the lawsuit themselves. That, you know, a lot of people, the only problem is people don't know how to do the document. But like simple complaint, or you can nowadays go to Google and put a sample complaint. Then it shows a lot of sample. But if you go to attorney, the problem is the attorney said, well, kid, I want $5,000 retainer fee. That's the problem with the attorneys. They want too many dollars now. And the legal system in this country, the problem is for criminal law. If somebody commits crime, government must provide free attorney, public defender, right? But for civil case, for money-wise, we don't have legal system where government provide free attorney. So a lot of people, the problem is many lawsuits under $200,000 is the problem. Because most of lawsuits will be under $200,000, right? Even $100,000. Just to go to attorney, it will cost $20,000. Most of attorney. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get $200,000 back. And even though you win the lawsuit, interestingly, in Korea, if somebody wins the lawsuit, defendant must pay $200,000. In this country, even though you get a judgment, if the other person say, I don't have anything, no real property, you can go to hell. Only thing messed up will be his credit. The thing is, in this country, we have a strong constitution says government will not put somebody in jail because that person don't have money, right? So this person lose money. I mean, he lost in the court. He got a judgment. He said, I don't have money. Then what can plaintiff do? He said, I'm gonna file the bankruptcy. That judgment means nothing. That's pretty bad. So a lot of spend money to get a judgment. And this person said, I don't have money. I'm gonna go bankruptcy. He get nothing. Plenty. So but in Korea it's not. But how about in the country where you come from? How about in your country?
Also like public defender. No, you get a lawyer, so.
But let's say if somebody get a judgment, do they have to pay, or if they don't have money, they don't have to pay?
If they don't have money, they go to jail.
They go to where?
Jail.
Jail.
Oh.
Yeah, that force people to pay. But how about in India? Not in India.
In Bangladesh.
Yeah.
So is it or your relatives, parents, or other
Yeah,
relatives with the money?
yeah, they have to pay. Yeah. So
The issue of jail, because it's a civil suit as it were. In a civil suit, it's not criminal.
He's a lawyer.
So going to jail, I don't think it's really common, like in Nigeria.
Nigeria, not common.
Person to person.
Yeah.
They rather give the judgment debtor
Mm-hmm.
enough time
Mm-hmm.
to pay.
Yeah, if the judgment debtor said, kill me, I can't pay.
The trick is that he normally doesn't say that. He normally pleads.
Oh, nobody said,
Yeah,
give me more time.
Give him more, so they are prepared to give him much more time, but he's
Yeah.
paying instrumentally.
Uh-huh.
He must pay something.
How about Korea?
Actually, no
Am I
one can
right?
say I have nothing because you have to work and whatever
Yeah.
you earn, you have to pay that money.
And for companies, I think they garnish the accounts of the company.
Yeah, garnish them.
Yeah, the account and
Somehow, yeah, in this country, there is way to, there's a little hole, there's a way to avoid all this. We call that judgment proof. Judgment proof is like bulletproof. Even though I get a judgment, I have a proof. So, judgment proof means as long as you don't have money in your bank account, you don't have any real property under your name, or of course if you are working, then your paycheck will be garnished. But let's say this person, he doesn't have a fixed income, yeah, then he's judgment proof. Then even though we get judgment, it's not worth it. So it's interesting. Okay. Hey, you're an attorney. I didn't have to do all that.
I am
Yeah.
Bring
I
you
am-
video.
I am
You should
not.
Practice in at home.
Don't mind her.
You should have told me. I didn't have to get my video. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Number 6. Intoxicated persons are liable in quasi-contract to pay reasonable value for necessity they receive. This intoxicated person, actually, this is not really usual because normally it's not intoxicated person, it's like minor actually, who buy for necessity, they have to pay reasonable value. So, number 6, I don't think I chose this question, but to me, it's more minor who buy something and say, hey, I'm the minor, I don't have to pay for it, but he cannot do that. He has to pay reasonable value for necessity. Necessity meaning is food or clothes. So, 7, the objective contract becomes illegal after contract is entered into, and if the objective parties are discharged from the contract. That's true. If the basically nature of the contract becomes illegal, that contract becomes void. 13. Okay. I think we didn't go over 13, but anyway, let's do it anyway. It's not really anything. Now this undue influence is another defense, just like mistake. Number 1, assent of the party to contract may be manifested in any manner sufficient to show agreement including conduct. Yeah, I mean, when offeree say, I accept, it can be verbally, it can be written, anything. Number 2, unilateral mistake is a mistake in which only one party is mistaken about material fact regarding subject matter of contract. That's true, right? Number 3, in most cases of unilateral mistake, mistaken party is permitted to rescind the contract. Now, number 3 is wrong because mistaken party is permitted to rescind the contract only when other person took advantage of the mistaken person. So in the unilateral contract mistake, the person has to prove that other person knew that the mistake and took the advantage of the person.
I have a question. Can I?
Sure.
Can I ask a question about this unilateral mistake? It's about a car, for example, in Craigslist. They put the odometer is 130,000 miles.
Where?
The odometer. in the car,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
And I buy it, and after that I saw that it is not true. It is 2,000 and
Yeah.
more. Can I say that it is a mistake?
I think that's the fraud.
It's a
Other person intentionally fixed that odometer, right? Interesting, they fix it. that's the problem. Well, that's why a lot of people actually go to CarMax. You know, CarMax is the used automobile dealer. They guarantee all the past history of the car, right? Many small automobile dealer, mechanics actually fix change that, metal.
Metals.
You know what happened is in this country we can lease the car, right? We can buy the car and we can lease the car. Lease the car means we don't pay the down payment, but we only pay the monthly payment. But there's a limitation that yearly we cannot ride more than 20,000 miles. If we ride more than 20,000 miles per year, when we return the car, we have to pay heavy penalty. So let's say I lease the car for 3 years. It means my metal has to be less than $60,000, right? Let's say mine is $100,000. What do? I call the mechanic and say, hey, can you change my,
Yeah.
the metal to 60,000? And they do have a special tool. They actually fix it.
Wow.
And another thing, another people did was, they actually buy used, junk car. They go to junk car and they buy the metal which have less than 60,000, and we just change that little part. So there are a lot of tricks that people who we lease the car, but there are certain car we could do it, certain car we cannot do it. I don't know which one. I never have done it. When I say I, it doesn't mean I. It's all my friends. We hear it, and a lot of people does it. So it means they can fix it. It means a lot of dealer, when they sell the car, they actually change it. But that's the fraud. But how can we prove it? That's the thing.
Yeah.
How can we prove it? That's very difficult because there is no witness. Only thing I can say, hey, my car, run like a car over 200,000 miles. And the thing is, it's very hard to prove. That's why many of these small dealers, they play with tricks, and there's no really strong proof that they have done. Or you will need some mechanic who can testify that this car must be more than 200,000 miles. Yeah, that means you need expert who can testify for us. I know, there has been many of these story about car salespeople. Like, I think nowadays it got much better. Nowadays, I don't feel like I really got ripped off when I go to automobile dealer. I remember when I was young, whenever I make a deal and when I come out, I feel like I've been totally tricked by them. And from behind them, I can hear they cheer, the salesperson. You made it! It's like I'm hearing, you made what? It means you tricked me? So nowadays, we have this CarMax, they guarantee the mileage, they guarantee all the history, they actually print everything. So we are getting into a better system nowadays. But this automobile industry there has been a lot of actually misuse and I think fraud. Number 4, material fact is a fact that is irrelevant to subject matter contract but pertain to conduct of the party. Now, material fact is actually relevant to subject matter contract. It's getting too much technical, actually, wordplay here, so we don't have to worry about too much. Number 5, an ambiguity in contract may constitute mutual mistake of the material fact. That could be because if it was there's ambiguity, both parties could have misunderstood. Number 6, if there has been a mutual mistake, contract cannot be rescinded. Now this is false because if there's a mutual mistake, then contract is automatically voidable. It can be rescinded. Number 7, unilateral mistake occurs if both parties know the objective contract. What?
Number 6, is it true or false?
Number 6 is false, but because it said contract cannot be rescinded, but because there's not, but just there should not be not. The contract could be rescinded. Unilateral mistake occurs if both parties know the objective contract, but our mistake has good value. No, unilateral mistake, only one person is mistaken. You know, like the question you asked for number 6. I mean, those are the questions they intentionally making question tricky. Just putting not, and you know, when we read it, it just confuses us. I think many exams nowadays are like that. You know, and even for you know, attorney exam and CPA exam, they intentionally make it question longer and intentionally leading you to totally wrong direction. But the answer is quite simple. Yeah, I can see many. Trend is, that's the trend nowadays. To make it difficult, they make the question longer and make it a lot of tricks into it. And when you read it, it just doesn't relate to answer. Yeah, doesn't relate to answer. 8, intentional misrepresentation is considered fraud. Yes, intentional misrepresentation is fraud. Number 9, sinter means knowledge that representation is false, or it was made without sufficient knowledge of truth. Yeah, you know, sinter is, we call it intent. Intent on knowing that it is false, knowing that it is not true. Person is intentionally trying to induce other person, so which means giving a wrong information.